he pōnei. UFO hospital declares an outbreak of Influenza A on the island, with residents urged to treat it like COVID-19. Sir Colin Tukuitonga has expressed his gratitude to local residents who have participated in the cool roof study. And crowds turned out to witness Niue's best rugby league action at Hakupu Showgrounds for the first round of the Niue Tuamotu Village Nines. Ke he tau toa wangahau Niue moi tau holonga Niue whakaloflahi atu. Welcome to BCN News. UFO Hospital has officially declared an outbreak for Influenza A on the island, with almost 30 confirmed cases as of today. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Salesi Akauola is urging residents to treat the outbreak like COVID-19 and for residents to avoid public gatherings and to wear a mask.
We've had to open up the COVID ward, in which we admitted 5 patients there, which have recovered, fortunately. But we're keeping it on standby for incoming cases.
Influenza A is a strain of the influenza virus. Symptoms include fever, headaches, body and muscle aches, coughing, runny nose, vomiting and diarrhea. Young children and elderly were most at risk of the virus. Dr. Salesi says the virus is believed to have arrived 2 weeks ago. Since then, a number of residents have already required hospitalisation, including one family household that was placed in quarantine for monitoring at the hospital's ward last week. The latest Influenza A flu shots are now available at UFO Hospital, and residents aged 2 years and older are eligible to receive the vaccinations. Meanwhile, visitors to the aged care unit and patient wards are restricted until further notice. Sir Colin Tukuitonga has expressed his gratitude to local residents who have participated in the Cool Roof project. Despite setbacks due to time-consuming surveys, he says, have led to some participants withdrawing from the study. Niue is the only country in the Pacific involved in the global research, with just months to go before its completion. Led by the University of Auckland, the study aims to examine the impacts of heat and climate on human health. Esther Pavihi spoke with Sir Colin today.
I wanted to say hello, to say thank you to those who have agreed to participate and to encourage them to continue with the study. One thing to remember, of course, is that one of the things I understand people were concerned about is they hadn't got the paint put on their roofs. And that's usually and they were expecting something to happen. The issue with that, of course, if you're in the control group, the group that doesn't get the paint at the beginning, we can't really change anything now. You're either in the first group that get the paint, or you wait until the end. We can't mix it up. But I do want to reassure people, when the study's done towards the end of the 12-month period, we will indeed, of course, offer people the resin to use as they wish.
What seems to be the biggest concern for the folks who have dropped out of the study, and is the numbers a concern for you and the team?
Yeah, it's getting up there. I'm told 80% at the moment. We have 80% continuing participation, which means about 13% in the study. And, you know, the more people drop out, it weakens the power of the study, and that would be the concern. So that's why I just wanted to, as I say hello, reassure people, and remind people that how important it is, of course. And I want to thank them if they have signed up to join. Really appreciate it. I understand totally. We debated it a long time about the number of questions, and the interview is taking longer than an hour. I mean, I know myself, someone coming to my house and I'm busy cooking dinner for my family, wanting to spend more than an hour with me, it's not a particularly good thing. So we understand that, and we have tried to trim the questions. Also to say that as because the team have collected a lot of the data, so the first 2 interviews will be a bit long, particularly the first one. But as time goes by, in the second month visit, it will be shorter.
And also, how significant is this? Because Niue is essentially the only country in the Pacific in this study, and this is a global study. So I suppose much is yeah. There's a lot at stake here, isn't it? Isn't there?
Oh, totally. And we're contributing the study in Niue is contributing to the global knowledge. And people will have seen in the media, in the news, in the various stories, how increased heat is really impacting on people around the world. And Niue is one of 4 sites. We have another site in India, another in Mexico, and one in Africa. So Niue is putting our little island on the map as contributing new knowledge about the impact of heat on health, on well-being, on sleep, on manatuang, cognition, those kinds of things. Yeah, so it's really important to continue with the study.
Telecom Niue Chief Executive Anurag Tandon is urging customers to utilise the Telecom website and phone apps to top up mobile data and power. By doing so, he said customers would be helping to reduce the workload of Telecom's customer care team, which operates 24/7, and would minimise reliance.
So instead of depending on customer care for doing these activities, it can be done on their own. This will help reduce the volume of work which the customer care is doing, besides doing the customer care activity itself. So everywhere in the world, automation is the next step forward, and with our small population, we need to basically automate as many things. So that's my appeal. Please use the website, please use the app, please use the web self-care to top up. Don't depend on customer care alone.
Tandon revealed to BCN News last week 4 major projects will be rolled out this year, including more reliable services to the villages on the island. Meanwhile, internet for the Kaniu service provider remains down in the village of La Kepa following a lightning storm that affected the village on Tuesday evening. Kaniu's owner, E Mani Whakaosi Manavalui, reported that newly replaced Wi-Fi equipment was damaged by the storm and is expected to be replaced again today, weather permitting. Telecom Niue CEO Anurag Tandon confirmed that their equipment was also damaged in the storm, but their team was able to repair their Wi-Fi equipment with spare parts, restoring services to the village within hours. Meanwhile, residents on the east coast that were affected by power outages during the storm have now been restored. As Niue marked World Autism Day this week, a local disability organisation has reported a growing number of children with autism on Niue. Angela Tuhipa of Niue Tolomaki Aulua told BCN News that of the 13 known cases on the island, only 4 children had registered with the association to access support. Here's Esther Pavihi with more.
Angela Tuhipa said that they are trying to encourage more families to be part of the program to assess and diagnose children with autism. In the last couple of years, 28 families were part of this program with visiting specialists, and from that group, 13 children were diagnosed with ASD. Tuhipa said that a proper diagnosis means they can identify the right type of support for the child and for the family. Angela Tuhipa, mother of 5, 3 of her children living with autism, says that she is hoping to establish a neurodiverse support group on the island. She hopes that this group will provide better support for our children and people with ASD, ADHD, OCD, and all other neurodevelopment disorders as well. Esther Pavihi, BCN News.
Niue's vet clinic was abuzz this week with the return of the Rock Vets for their first clinic of the year. The team of 9 who arrived on Friday performed 65 D-sex surgeries on dogs and cats this week, with Rock Vets team leader Linda McCallum expressing satisfaction with the high turnout.
We're really happy with those numbers. I think we've moved past those, crazy numbers. So I think people now are feeling like they a little bit under control and that they're able to manage things a bit better. So we're feeling really happy with that, and certainly what we're seeing around the island is reflecting on that as well.
This year marks 11 years since the voluntary clinic began serving Niue's local animals and pets. McCallum says while she was pleased to see a noticeable drop in dog numbers on the island, she was concerned to see an increase of cats during this trip.
We've done quite a few cats this week, which is great. We did do a drive round of the island over the weekend when we first arrived. We did see a lot of cats, which was sort of a little bit different. We don't recall seeing like lots of cats, so we would definitely like to see more. We are aware that the wild cats can be a problem for Niue's bird life, so having them come in and be de-sexed too is really good, and we don't obviously want an increase in those wild cats, so we're trying to make sure we can decrease that.
Among the successful operations this week was a leg amputation on a dog and an eye removal operation on a kitten. The team departs tomorrow, but pet owners who missed them this week can look forward to their return in July and November. The inaugural Niue Civil Society Summit held last Friday drew over 20 representatives from various non-governmental organisations. The event provided a valuable opportunity for attendees to learn about Niuango, the island's representative organisation for NGOs, which has been in existence for over 20 years despite its relatively low profile.
New Zealand's High Commissioner to Niue, Mark Gibbs, spoke briefly recognising the efforts of Niuango in hosting the summit and the significance of bringing together the different groups around the island. Acting Minister Maureen Melekitama spoke briefly on behalf of the Niue government. For those representing the NGOs, Carol Edwards, representing the Netball Association, said that Nina is interested in joining Niuango, but they wanted to know more about the organisation. Nitalingi Pihingia from the Tuapa Uhomotu group said that she wanted to know how they can benefit from joining Niuango. The Tuapa Uhomotu Youth was the only youth organisation at the summit. Meanwhile, Lisa Viliamu, representing the Organic Farmers Association, Niofa, is new to the island. The climate activist from Brisbane, Australia, recently relocated to the island with her family. Lisa is keen to bring some of her experience working in the civil society space overseas to help revive the civil society space on the island. However, concerns were also raised about the lack of representation from the faith-based groups on the island and that more should be done to encourage their participation. Esther Pavihi, BCN News.
A team of meteorological experts and representatives from across 11 Pacific countries were in Niue last month to gain insights from staff at Niue's Meteorological Service on how they're integrating traditional knowledge into weather forecasting. The Knowledge Sharing Initiative is part of a broader regional effort to promote the incorporation of traditional knowledge and gender into climate warning systems. Here's more on this story.
In the heart of Hakupu, this humble yam plantation, or uwhi, is sharing ancient secrets.
If the yam crawls upwards, it indicates there's no tropical cyclone affecting the island in the next season. But if it just crawls on the bottom, that indicates that we will be affected by a tropical cyclone in the coming season.
Planted by the Niue Girls and Boys Brigade last year, the plantation has become a crucial part of Niue Met Service's monitoring program for climate warning systems.
The programs that we have brought in are just new programs, but the way traditional knowledge have been for Niue or have been for yams have always been there.
Now this special uwhi is just one of a few sites on Niue, offering valuable insights to visiting weather experts from 11 Pacific countries, here to explore traditional knowledge and gender integration in modern climate research.
It is for us to understand what works in your country. Maybe those solutions can work in other countries as well.
It is very interesting because in the med space for us in Fiji, it's a new thing for us. Although there are already existing traditional knowledge.
Hosted by the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program and the United Nations Environment Program, Niue's Minister for Natural Resources, Mona Ainu, officially opened the event at Millennium Hall.
Traditional knowledge shouldn't be complicated.
we all do it. We all believe in it.
It's also great for the rest of our other member countries who are here to learn and understand the scale of things, how traditional knowledge, the methods that they use can be applied.
What was also an opportunity for the women of the Ecclesia Cristiano Niue Church to present on the Pia Niue project.
I know that we are all sensitive to sharing of TK information, but we are actually seeing, we have to realize that there are changes in climate that could change the way tradition is or tradition used to be.
For Pacific nations here at the week-long workshop, there was something to learn.
The yam is no longer a man thing, both men and women.
This is something that we will take back home and learn from.
And something to share.
Listening to the stories that has been shared, I can just imagine our country in that field.
With climate change undoubtedly here,
and the rain is coming.
Pacific leaders turning to tradition to find a way. Moana Makapilu Lee, BCN News.
Keeping with the story, Mere Satakala also spoke to other representatives from the 11 Pacific countries who were here as part of the workshop. Here's the story.
BCN News had a chance to speak with some of the participants from the various meteorological departments from the region that were on the island last week. They were here to learn from Niue on how they have managed to integrate traditional knowledge into the work of the Niue Meteorological Service. Wilfred Nanpe of the Federated States of Micronesia shared highlights on the various key takeaways from the learnings.
Well, I think it's a very important workshop because you have all these Pacific Islanders that come together and they share their traditional knowledge. And you learn from each other. I think with the traditional knowledge, you can incorporate it with the forecast that we have from the Met services, and then with that we can have, give the villagers information that they can use for everyday life.
Representing the Cook Islands Meteorological Service, Tino shared similar sentiments. During the week-long workshop, countries were able to identify where they are in terms of their Traditional Knowledge Project, which is a component of the Climate and Ocean Support Program in the Pacific, Phase 3 project, and to chart a way forward to ensure the traditional knowledge empowers and informs for a more resilient community.
From the workshop, man, we got to, communicate with everyone and get to bond with everyone and to find out whereabouts are we in terms of levels, in terms of who's doing really well and who's still trying to make their way or even start up their TK here in Niue.
The workshop was jointly hosted by the Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program through the Climate and Ocean Support Program in the Pacific, Phase 3 project, and the United Nations Environment Program's Enhancing Climate Information and Knowledge Services for Resilience in 5 island countries of the Pacific. Mer Satakala, BCN News.
The Niue Chamber of Commerce will hold its much-anticipated International Women's Day Business Networking event tomorrow evening at the Matavai Resort. CEO Catherine Papani said the event was more than just a business networking opportunity, but a time to bring Niue's women together. This year's theme is Accelerate Action and is represented by the colour green. The event is part of the Chamber's annual celebration of Niue's women, now in its 7th year. And in sports, people turned out in numbers to witness the best of Niue Rugby League at Hakupu Showgrounds on Saturday for round 1 of the Village Nines. There were big hits, fast tries and non-stop action as Hakupu, Avasele, Tuapa, Alofi and this year's newcomers Mutalao went head-to-head. Round 2 of the Village Nines will take place on April 12th. The latest results can be found on Niue Rugby League Tuamotu Facebook page. That's our show for tonight. If you have a story to share, you can contact us on our Facebook or Instagram page. Otherwise, you can visit us at the Met Office. A special whakalofa atu to our viewers from across the region and to our partners at Pacifica TV. I'm Moana Makapilu Lee, Monoina e Po.